Okay. Yoga for sleep, morning, energizing practice to wake and warm, energizing without overwhelming. We start in mountain and we start with Surya Mudra, meaning the sun, like Surya Namaskar, sun salutations. Our sun hand position is the ring finger down and the thumb holding the ring finger. If the fingers start to get cranky, we just relax them whenever we're ready. But if we are okay as we are, standing at the top of our mats in mountain pose, maybe do a little shakeout, reminding ourselves not to take things too seriously. Standing tall and proud like a mountain. Option to close our eyes. And let's come into our basic 3-part breath that we are familiar with. Inhaling, filling our lungs, bottom to top, front to back, side to side. And exhaling, releasing. We may like to use counting, inhaling 1, 2, 3, exhaling 3, 2, 1. Allowing our Surya Mudra or Sun Mudra to inspire us this morning to bring warmth into our bodies. Scanning our bodies head to toe, noticing where we are already feeling warm, alive, vital. Is there a way that we can stand with dynamic energy, rooting down into the earth, crown of the head growing up into the sky? Instead of being slumped in our own fatigue, can we grow tall and energized? Option to set an intention for our time together today. Remembering that this is our own personal practice. You're the boss, you're in control. Modifying our work today as needed. And we can release our hands, maybe give them a little shake. Let's bring a bit of heat into our breath. We can take hands over belly. Inhaling, we stand tall, feel our rib cage expand, and exhaling, noticing that our abdominal muscles are supporting us here. So as much as we're taking a full diaphragmatic breath, we're not letting our bellies splay out. We're not collapsing our udders or whatever that term is in cow pose. We are containing our abdominals. Our energy and our inner fire can come from tapas, our third chakra, solar plexus energy drawing up and in. And we can build a lot of heat from our core center to give us energy and boost. We got that element of air expanding our rib cage. Let's continue this expanding feeling with our expanding breath. Each inhale, we are inhaling up and out, and then exhaling, drawing energy down into heart center. So as we inhale, feeling that we are growing out in all directions, and as we breathe out, still that containment in our abdominals pulling in, maintaining height on our inhale. Noticing the range of motion in our shoulders. Of course, we'll have opportunities to build heat in the upper body, but remembering if shoulders are a little cranky or anything else going up in our upper body, we can rest instead of working through all of our various chaturangas and such, or crocodile pose. All right, from the top edge of our mat, let's step back to face the long edge, sun and moon, expanding into our 5-pointed star and keeping that feeling of greatness and expansion as we bend elbows and knees together into moon pose. So let's use our eyes to energize, taking our eyes upward with our inhale, and depending on our comfort and our balance, we can keep them up. I had a teacher who once said, keeping our gaze at the place where the wall and ceiling meet. Now, it depends on the size of your room and a couple of other factors, neck mobility and that sort of thing, but that might be a good guideline for us. Keeping our eyes at the place where wall and ceiling meet. We can stay here with moonflowers or coming into sun. Still using our expanding breath, still matching breath to movement. We know that matching breath to movement is inherently soothing for our nervous system so that we're still in, don't let our sympathetic activation get a bad rap. We are here, we are social, we are moving. But can we move in a way that we are peacefully engaged? So we're active without overdoing. All right, let's bring our hands down, maybe to our thighs or lower leg, and then option for some freedom of movement here. So since we are no strangers to Yoga Fit, I think I'm going to throw in a few options today that are not in our manual because I know that we're at the point where we can handle them. So we're in sort of a Skandasana lunge, wide-legged forward fold, listening to our bodies, loosening up any area where we feel tension. When I was looking at traditional Chinese medicine, one thing that was recommended for sleep was inner thigh and ankle mobility. So we're getting some of that here. We're going to walk ourselves back up our thighs, use the strength in our backs to come all the way up. When we're ready, inhaling up and out into our 5-pointed star, hands to heart. Let's come to the top of our mats for chair flow. And we'll use our same expanding breath for chair flow. Getting tall, lifting high, feeling strong, and then exhaling, lowering without deflating, keeping that tall sense of expansion. We may also like to come up onto the toes, again, increasing our energy, our eyes and our heels lifting up. And then fingers and toes spread wide as we lower down into chair. And I think this is one way too. We were talking about losing our focus when we're underslept. I think lifting onto our toes and doing activities that are demanding of our concentration without being frazzling, which is normally what we feel at work. It's not frazzling to come up onto our toes, but we definitely have to be dialed in. All right, we'll give her one more here. And then we're ready to come down to our mats, swan diving to the floor and settling back, child's or downward facing dog. Yogi's choice. Let's tune in to our energy levels. Do we feel like a more active down dog would be great? Or do we feel like we need a more peaceful child's, maybe even wrapping the arms around and behind? You know, if we've really been hitting the gas pedal all week, maybe this class is more an opportunity for momentum, pausing, kind of gliding through without straining. I invite us to wake up our spines when we're ready, cat and cow. So we can spread our fingers wide, pressing the tops of the feet and our fingerprints into the mat, flowing once more with our own breath. And one thing that often happens in poor sleep is that we get into habit patterns that do not serve us. So can we be moving through cat and cow in habit patterns that are different? Maybe instead of just holding our cat and cow back and forth, can we be working a little bit more to the sides of the mat or the corners of the mat, still keeping in line with our reasonable spa principles, but having a bit more freedom of movement, of exploration. So if we're always on the beaten path, then that means some areas are untouched. And let's seek out those untouched areas, shifting our weight as we flow through cat and cow. Or we may also, like some of us may be familiar with side cat, looking over one shoulder at a time. Or what's our dancing cat? Barrel rolls with our rib cage and our tailbone. I think we do this one maybe in Yoga Fit for the Change, freeing the pelvis, something like that. Maybe we're really locked up in our pelvis, and that's one reason why we're not sleeping. All right, so we're all at home in our own home practice. If you are really enjoying moving around, feel free. Otherwise, we're moving towards sun salutations. So let's warm up our half series from our child's. Moving into extended child's. Shoulders are still drawing down our back, so neck is long, but our fingers are spread wide, arms are fully extended. We're inhaling forward into our kneeling plank, exhaling a little bit fiery to contain our cores as we're lowering down, resisting gravity halfway, and then pressing back up and into child's. So this is our flow. We're warming up our push-up, our yogi push-up, our crocodile, kneeling crocodile. It goes by many names. We're feeling out our upper body, noticing how we're doing in our upper body strength today. Maybe we're not feeling so secure. We just want to do a little baby kind of push-up. So we still have integrity and upper body challenge, moving with our breath, but our range of motion is not the most important thing in the world, right? We want quality, not quantity, an important piece of our sleep picture. Maybe give it one or two more. And then we have our option to rest back in down dog or child's. A nice option to, again, have some freedom of movement, wagging our tail in our downward dog, or a rest for our nervous system, letting our forehead land in our child's and gently turning our head side to side, giving our bodies a soft landing place. Walking hands and feet together, we will make our way into forward fold. We can have a deep knee bend here to rest belly on thighs, supporting our bodies with our own bodies, giving our heads a gentle shake or nod. And let's not forget our expanding breath as we reverse our swan dive all the way up and coming into mountain. Pausing here, checking in with how we're doing from this, our present moment, starting fresh. Trying not to dwell on anything that's happened in the past. Can we see this moment with clear eyes? We've been doing some options with chest expansion. So let's remind ourselves of our various chest expansion options. We have, okay, hands at heart or hands at hips are a nice kind of landing point. If we are taking a break from chest expansion, we can have our fingertips reaching down towards the earth and then backs of the hands towards the back of the mat. Yes, we could be interlacing. We also have our cactus arms drawing back. And then we might even be reaching overhead. And if our palms are turned forward, sorry, I'm dipping down so you can see, instead of pinkies forward, palms forward might be another option. And the palms out at T can help us with balance, palms forward, down, or up. Okay, so the idea is that chest expansion and a little bit of a back bend is continuing with this uplifting, energizing energy as we move into sun salutations. Here we go. Let's inhale, circle, sweep arms to sky, feeling broad across our collarbones. Strong back and core as we are swan diving down towards the floor. Let's take our right foot back and we'll start with our kneeling lunge. Knee under hip, knee over ankle, cactus. We'll settle on a classic to begin. And it might be nice too, as we squeeze the upper back, to turn the head side to side or tilt the head side to side to free the neck. We can have our tongue against the roof of the mouth. Taking our hands down on either side of our front foot, we're stepping back, yogi's choice. We rest or flow through our half series. And we could do our half series prep as we just did, our little push-up, or maybe we're lowering all the way down. And then we're drawing shoulder blades down our backs as we are lifting up into cobra. Down dog or child's, and we're ready to step the right foot forward. All right, pressing down, firm foundation, growing tall, optimistic body posture, broad across our hearts. Full breath in. We're stepping forward into forward fold. And reversing our swan dive here. Let's take a seat into chair. And then we're ready to move back into our sun salutations. This time, maybe we're coming off the knee. So as we're stepping our left foot back, we can have our high lunge, with our right foot. Let's think chest expansion. Maybe we are flying our airplane wings back in chest expansion for today. Full breath in. Let's take it down to the mat. Yogi's choice. We rest or flow. So we could be choosing our kneeling plank or our long plank, our cobra, or our upward facing dog. Left foot forward between our hands, kneeling or not. Maybe we like our airplane wings. Squeeze the upper back, leading forward with the heart without collapsing our abs. Let's step forward. Reverse our swan dive. We'll sit down and back into chair. Okay, let's do another set here of chest expansion. And I'll let each of us lead our own sun salutation. So our right foot is coming back. Chest expansion, yogi's choice. We're resting or flowing, moving with our own perfect pace of breath. Okay, so let's meet at the top of our mats in chair. We'll do one more round of sun salutation, do it a little differently. So we know that heat can be warming in the morning. If we would like, instead of chest expansion this way through, we can add our twist. So we can be stepping back with the left foot, knee up or down, twisting towards our front knee. We can be still expanding across the chest with our arms in T, or maybe draped behind. And once more, we rest or flow through our half series. So again, we have our option for a twist. We don't have to, but if we like to be heat building, we can. Left foot forward, twisting towards our front knee, pressing down with the right hand, wide across the chest. Our arms are in T. And then we're stepping up to the top of the mat. Reversing our swan dive. I hope we are feeling warm. We are ready to rock. Let's flow through our lateral flexion and chair pose. So we'll slide our fingertips down, increasing length through the sides of the body. We are standing tall instead of collapsing. I think that's some of the value of our sun salutations too, is that we are long instead of collapsed, especially through our hip flexors. Let's take one arm up and over, side body stretch, full breath in, and then we're going to sit into chair, alternating side to side. So any kind of chair pose we like. If we like more support, we can have hands to thigh through chair and hands to hip through our lateral flexion. Let's not forget our drishti, looking upward. All right, if we remember which side we started on, let's finish on the opposite side and then we'll meet in our chair pose. Let's come low. Let's wiggle our toes. We'll lift the front of the foot. We can lift our heels, waking up our ankles, wiggling our toes. All right, we will move through our Vayu breath. So come on up to standing and we will move through. I'll show us our final ta-da, and then I will regress to show us smaller range of motion. So our Vayu breath, we sit down and back into a chair and we can jump if we would like. I know it's not for everybody, so let's layer on. So we reach tall, upward mountain, and then we exhale as we come down through our chair. And then maybe we lift onto our toes and we reverse. If we would like to hop, we can add a little hop. If we like to fly, we can do a big leap. I will leave that up to each of us. Maybe we feel a little unsteady with our balance. We just want to lift like one foot at a time. There's a lot of value in asymmetrical activity. So that's another option if we would like it. Or we can just hop. Okay, if you are going with me, in the manual, I think it says 8 to 12 times for our Vayu breath. So let's do another 8 here. All right, last 4. Remembering that we can pause and come back to a more relaxed way of doing it if we like. Let's make our last one a good one. All right, we'll recover. Inhaling up and sweeping the arms back. Sometimes it can really help with recovery to do that harsh pursed lip exhale. Moving into our warrior series here from the top of the mat. Swan diving forward. Let's take our hands down to either thigh or floor to steady us. And let's take our right foot back for warrior one. Standing tall. If we love our chest expansion, maybe our arms are out at T for balance, or T with our palms facing forward. Help us to feel more open, and we're maybe not straining so hard to balance. I think I'll mirror us for today. Coming into our warrior two. What did I say? Right foot back? Yeah, we're ready. Okay, warrior two. Left knee over left ankle, strong through the lower body. We could wiggle our toes, wiggle our fingers, maybe bounce the shoulders a couple times. It's good for our lymphatic system, any kind of bouncing movement, but also good to relax. Let's flow for today, side angle and reverse warrior. Inhaling long into side angle, and then exhaling to reverse into reverse warrior. Inhaling, feel the ribcage expand. Exhaling to transition. So we use the strength through the side body to transition, but we're also lengthening the side body. This is a good way of challenging ourselves for both mobility and stability. Let's hold side angle. And we'll turn it into our triangle. If we love, again, our chest expansion, we can be draping our top arm in behind. We can extend our front leg into triangle. Maybe we're taking our bottom hand down our shin, the floor, on a block, whatever else we need. Rotating open. And let's take our hands down to the mat. We'll walk through a wide-legged forward fold. Pausing here, let's turn all 10 toes to the top edge of the mat. Having a mindful pause for ourselves. So every time we work, we recover. There's a stop and go energy to our classes, so we're not just pedal to the metal the whole way through. We work and rest. Walking our hands towards our back foot. So our right foot is our new working leg front foot. Let's climb up into warrior one. Let's check back in with our drishti. Eye gaze comes up. If we like our arms out to T to help us balance, we can. If we love our arms overhead in a more conventional warrior one, see if it feels better to turn the palms forward. So this might happen that our balance is challenged as we lift our gaze. So our eyes lift and our head and our hearts have to come up with it. And that might challenge our balance, so our arms come out to T to give us a hand. We are opening to warrior two. Back foot maybe comes further back to accommodate the movement. Warrior two, do we like our palms forward or up? Is it more easygoing, right? We don't have to force everything and strain everything because it should be a certain way. Feel it out in the shoulders. How is that working for you? Maybe we're flipping palms up, bending the elbows, hands to heart, whatever we need to do to keep this practice, that nice mix of steadiness and sweetness that is so often drawn from the sutras. Okay, we're flowing. Side angle. Exhale to transition. Reverse warrior. Expand through the rib cage. Exhale. Containing our abdominals, building a little bit of inner fire. So I'm teaching this, I think, a bit more heating than I would in the summer. In the summer, we might think more about being balancing and cooling for pitta, because it is exhausting to heat ourselves in the summer, but we just set those clocks back. So probably ready to build some warmth. Side angle, we hold, moving into triangle. Yogi's choice how we do our triangle. And we know our little breather is coming up through our wide-legged forward fold. Let's take one more full breath in. Using our exhale and our abdominal strength to control the descent as we walk to the long edge of the mat. Maybe we're walking hands forward for a sort of wide-legged downward dog. Again, work smarter, not harder, work compassionately, work sensibly. If down dog is tough on the wrists, maybe we're walking the hands forward. And we know we can add any other little tidbits to our practice here. We're going to start to cool it down. So maybe a twist or something like that would be in order to keep some heat in the body. Maybe we like our little side to side Skandasana, taking a moment here. No rush, but we're going to walk our hands back to the top of the mat. We're stepping back, down dog or child, choosing to rest or to flow through our half series. And then we'll all meet in mountain. Maybe we're resetting with a couple of circle sweeps. And we're going to move from a real energizing, uplifting into more steady and balancing. I'll give us the option for tree pose today. If you feel another favorite balance pose is in order, of course, go for it. Instead of, as we so often cue for tree pose, we say pick a spot on your mat and stare at it. If we're thinking about our eyes, telling our brains what energy to feel, that's going to bring our energy and maybe our posture down. I don't know that we still want to keep our energy up, but is there a spot across from you on the wall that we can gaze at? If you are in front of a mirror, they'll say stare at your own belly button or at the tip of your own nose. Anything sort of eye level across the room from you. Okay, let's pick our good side for tree. Yogi's choice, right or left. Let's smooth our breathing out. Maybe we like another chest expansion. Maybe we like to grow branches. Self-expression here. What kind of tree are you today? We want to train good habits, train success. So if we fall out, get back in the tree and train ourselves to exit the tree with control. When we're ready, got our second side. Okay, we're in the tree. We're breathing steady, full expansion of breath, containment of our abdominals, our mula bandha, pelvic floor or pelvic core. Our eye gaze, steady and stable. If we like branches or chest expansion or anything along those lines, be my guest. Listening to our bodies, maybe it's a little different on this side than it was on the first side. Okay, habit patterns. Confident, tall, optimistic. If we fall out, we get back in. We train ourselves to try again. And then we train success on our exit. Let's move into some prone positions. So if by any chance anyone's thirsty, resist drinking for just a moment. We're going to lie on our stomachs. Swan diving. Let's have a moment to pause here. Again, it might feel quite soothing to rest belly on thighs. We can be taking feet wider than hip width apart or sort of a wide hip position. Gentle shake of the head.
and then nodding, saying to ourselves, yes, you've got this. Stepping back to down dog, child's, and then releasing towards the floor into a prone position. So we'll still keep doing some chest expansion, but we're adding in back bending, with the idea being that we're actually kind of burning up some energy so that we'll feel more calm or released in our final relaxation. Okay, so we've done our cobra already. I hope we are fairly warm through our cobra position. We could be here. For a lot of my clients, it's too big a range of motion. So we're doing like a sleeping crocodile, or almost like how we used to watch TV as kids, propping ourselves up on our forearms. If we're cool with locust, all right, a little support for our body weight, maybe, or we're taking hands alongside our thighs. We're lifting bodies up. We can be lifting one leg or both. Let's hold here for a few rounds of breath. Engaging energy shooting out through the top of the head and out through our toes. A great one if we've been spending a little bit too much time in bed, curled up in a ball. A nice way to balance. Before we move into bow, let's come down and pause. We can shake the hips off or windshield wipe. Now we know if bow is not our favorite, instead of locust even, we could be doing spinal balance on all fours. And instead of bow, we can be doing tabletop or like a spinal balance variation, tiger pose. I don't know if anybody needs that. I will demonstrate our regular bow. I like to get there through locust. So energizing, crown of the head reaches forward, fingertips reach back, toes reach back, coming into a knee bend, really working the strength in our back and our hamstrings to get our ankles. And then we're kicking our feet away, resisting the movement with the strength in the upper body. And that kick away and resistance in the upper body is what gives us an upward lift. Our breathing may be quite shallow here because we're really compressing our lung capacity, right? We're lying on our bellies and we're bent in our backs. So our lungs don't have too much space to go. We did do lateral flexion before we got here, but we're probably still feeling a bit shallow in our breathing. So it actually may feel quite nice as we release to press back somewhere between cat and child's to release our low back. Not for everybody, but for lots of us, it may feel nice to come into a more soothing position for the back. Reversing our back bend. Some people like to move through cat and cow. And taking our time coming into a kneeling position for camel. Okay, so we did all our chest expansion options earlier. We could be out at T, hands on the back of the pelvis. I mean, we could even have fingertips behind our ears and lift up. Whatever we like to feel our most camel-y. Lifted again, we got this upward drishti, light, lifted, thinking we're focusing our inhale. Yes, of course, we're always going to exhale, but our minds are focused on the energetic value of the inhale. If we love camel, we can come down the back of the thighs to our feet, strong through our core. Should be able to swallow. We should have the strength and mobility on our necks, right? Instead of flopping back, we are lifting up, just like we did with our bow pose, right? By kicking into our lower body and resisting with our upper body, it gave us that lift in bow. We're getting the same thing here. Pressing down through our hands, lifting up by pressing down through our feet. So by engaging dynamically, we get this uplift. Okay, coming out of it wisely, sensibly, protecting low back. Same as we did, thinking about what our low back needs. Do we need to move through a little cat-cow, some rounding? I always like to just come into a neutral spine. Yogi's choice. Listening to our bodies, noticing what's going on. Self-study, what is actually working here? What do I really need?
Maybe some other movement you want to pull in. We'll pause for a moment in a seated position. We may have some favorite seated pose. Maybe we want to do a seated twist before we bring it down. Again, maintaining a little bit of warmth. Being cold is sort of a form of stress that interferes with sleep because the body tenses. This is some of the thinking behind why magnesium works for sleep as well, because this low level tensing can suddenly release. So maybe if we have a little bit extra heat before we come down onto our backs, that'll help. I don't know, just a thought. Okay, I'm gonna throw some socks on. You may like to do the same, and then we're gonna come into supine. A couple poses, and then I will guide us through our relaxation. Option here for a supported bridge or a bridge. Again, thinking about our own energy level. If we're feeling overwhelmed, just taking it easy. Or if we feel we're a little fidgety, we still got some energy to burn up, we can really go for it with our bridge pose. From knees to chest, maybe doing a little rock side to side. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. We're starting fresh from this moment. We're letting our feet land for bridge. We can take arms alongside our bodies. Some people feel more in control if we're walking shoulder blades under our backs and digging the triceps in, like make like a bicep curl and really dig in first before we get anywhere. Again, so we have this strong foundation through the upper back and shoulders, pressing into our feet. And then again, we may feel more secure or stronger foundation. Same idea as what we're doing, pressing down, except we're gripping the edges of the mat. So we can lift up, we can lift and hold. Instead of our hands flopping around in space, we're holding on. And then some of us may want to hold underneath our glutes to take the load off, but still getting that opening through the front of the hip. And if anybody wants bridge pose, that's another great one. Again, it's tough to lift and get in there, but when we come out, there's this real of coming into wheel. Gymnasts usually call it bridge pose. And when we're ready to release, we release. Taking a moment to tune in, seeing what we need here. And we can finish with figure 4 or sleeping pigeon. So we're taking right ankle over left thigh. If we want the gentle nervous system version, I call it stargazer's pose. We can take our hands behind our head and do a gentle rock side to side. So we have a little sway here, taking it easy. So it's very subtle in terms of the stretch sensation on our IT band and hip, but it may be exactly what we need. So try it out. Maybe just for today, instead of doing an intense figure 4, we do a very gentle stargazer's pose or cloud gazer's pose, as I usually call it in the daytime. Letting our breathing slow down. Maybe we're closing our eyes. We can do a big breath in through the nose and then sigh out through the mouth. Switching sides, yogi's choice. This side may need something different. So we have our option for our gentle stargazer, cloud gazer, whatever we want to call it. swaying or rocking side to side. We could do our more traditional figure four, right? There's no shame, no judgment in whichever option we pick. There's no good or bad. There's just choices. Seeing what level or what type of sensation we need today. Relaxing the muscles of the face. Letting our breathing slow down. And we allow our breath to be 10% fuller. And then as we're ready, coming into our final relaxation. So we call it final relaxation because we are aiming to be relaxed, right? So traditionally we have our sort of a sleeping starfish kind of position, feet and hands wider than the mat. But if we feel more comfortable, more relaxed, to hold the edges of the mat, to be side lying, to be prone, to be in constructive rest, whatever we like. Occasionally I'll have a student, it just feels so much more settled lying on their stomach. Go for it. We have our baby pose to lie on our side. Okay. Being our own inner teacher. I'm going to sit up just so I don't fall asleep. And let's scan the body head to toe, seeing if there are any final fidgets that we would like to get out. We may like to, again, do another sigh, full breath in, little sip at the top, sigh it out. We might like to blow through the lips. Let some tension go from our faces. It may also feel great to do a tense and release. So really squeeze the fists, make a face like we just ate a lemon, scrunch up, flex our feet, point our toes, really squeeze, 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 squeeze. Take a breath. It's probably going to be shallow because we're so tense. And then with an exhale, let that tensing go. And let's see if we can move that around the body. So if we're feeling a lot of tenseness in the shoulders, a lot of tension in the shoulders, squeeze shoulders up to ears, squeeze, 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 maybe hold for a round of breath. And then I usually like to release on an exhale because then we can have that sensation on the exhale. We've been sitting, so it may feel nice to really squeeze the glutes or the upper back. Squeeze our feet together, engaging the inner thigh muscles. So noticing how this one is landing for you. I would say most people really like a tense and release. Any of that lingering tension and stress can go. You know, we can clench the jaw and then release, and then suddenly the jaw and the face feel looser. If that works for us, fantastic. If it doesn't work, that's okay. Maybe just focusing on that relaxation sensation instead. We can bring our awareness to the places where our body meets the mat. Feeling grounded and connected. We can let this bring us into the present moment. Noticing where the feet are resting on the mat. Noticing the tongue resting on the roof of the mouth. What else is pressing into the mat? Back of the head, upper back, the glutes. Acknowledging that we are supported here. Reminding ourselves here and now that our only job is to breathe. Can we come into the breath? Can we do a little dance with the breath? Aware like the ocean waves of the breath coming in and allowing the breath to leave us. Each breath can be a practice of acceptance and letting go, accepting the air as it comes in and letting it go as the air goes out without grasping or clawing it back. Smooth inhalation, smooth exhalation, allowing the breath to nourish. And staying with our 3-part even breath can keep our energy balanced. So when we focus on quick inhalation, it energizes. Slow exhalation can leave us feeling sleepy or groggy. Right now, we're working towards a mindful pause, knowing that it is not nap time. So maybe we're coming back to our simple breath. Inhaling, 1, 2, 3, and exhaling, 3, 2, 1. Once more, bringing our awareness to all places where our body meets the mat or the surface beneath you. With our exhale, allowing ourselves to feel heavy, grounded, supported. With our inhale, bringing our awareness to feeling light, lifted. So we have this balance between support and lift, feeling grounded and light. We're in sort of a Goldilocks state, not too sleepy, not too revved up, just right. We could start to bring a bit more energy in with our inhale, focusing now on the sensation of lightness, bringing into our mind's eye the image of a sunny sky, gentle white clouds. Let's make our way to finish in a seated position for today. Balanced between earth and sky, feeling uplifted. Noticing how our energy is at this moment and choosing a word or a handful of words to describe how we're feeling. Let's bring hands to heart. Taking a moment to pause and send appreciation to our bodies and our minds and our spirit for the ability to carve out this time to be here today, giving ourselves a little pat on the back. Thank you so much for joining me here today. From my light to yours, namaste.